rightly or wrongly, I think our bands have got a lot in common.
Yeah, actually, I was just checking out your stuff right before the interview.
I was doing well. I've been doing the same with your stuff ever since volume. I heard volume 6,
Hmm.
because it's not often you get a chance to talk to somebody who's been around nearly as long as you have, or longer in your case. And yeah, there just seems a lot of crossover between us. You know, you guys are kind of, part of the Canadian Big Four. We're part of the UK Big Four. And you've got some kind of hardcore background, and I think kind of hardcore elements to the music.
Oh, for sure.
And we get the same.
Yeah, I think it was pretty common for us '80s bands.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Well, it was the kind of the rise of hardcore and sort of agnostic front and Crumbsuckers bleeding into kind of with having that sort of crossover appeal and DRI and stuff.
Oh,
Now,
for sure.
yeah, that had a big effect on me. I mean, I like Dead Kennedys. I'd like Dead Kennedys, and then I kind of got into the crossover stuff, and I found it really appealing, because to me it was like thrash, but it had a more, almost like a more chaotic edge to it.
Oh, yeah. It's interesting that you like gravitated towards the American bands and like we were probably more into the British bands, like, we were Discharge, GBH, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an accident of timing more than anything else. I think it was just the rise of it was Cause for Alarm that was the first kind of album that really made me like pay attention to the crossover movement. But I was already
Hmm.
listening to Dead Kennedys, and also some friends of ours from not far away, English Dogs.
Right. Yeah. Them too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Broken Bones.
Oh, dude, Broken Bones. What a fucking band, Dem Bones. That's a
Yeah.
gateway album.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I was doing interviews. I was doing festival interviews with all the bands on the bill, and I interviewed Discharge, and I kind of, I haven't, I've never been a massive Discharge fan, and you know, rightly or wrongly, I didn't really know what was going on. I had two members of Discharge. It's a long day. I interviewed 9 bands in, no, sorry, I interviewed like, I think it was 15 bands in 8 hours. So it's a long
Wow.
day. And
Yeah.
yeah, I know. And one of and so I get these 2 guys from Discharge come in. And I say, oh, can you introduce yourselves? And the singer says, so. And guitarist goes, yeah, my name's Bones. And I'm just like, totally unprofessional. I'm like, oh, fuck me, Bones. Like,
I wasn't
I,
even aware that Bones was in Discharge still.
yeah, he's still in him.
Wow. That's awesome.
I know, I know. So I was like, oh my god, I was just, I was just fanboying out. I was like, oh, huge Broken Bones fan. So then we had to sit there and talk about Discharge. And when the interview finished, the singer went, oh, it was really cool, really enjoyed that. Cheers. Bones didn't say a word. Now I'm not the biggest of guys. I'm like 5'5", downhill with the wind behind me. Bones is quite a unit, and he walked past me and then turned straight on, and then just kind of enveloped me in this massive hug, like really, like you're squeezing the life out of me here, bro. Um, didn't say a word and just left.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. So like, it was great. It was like punk enigma. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I love all of that stuff. And when listening, and it's bizarre. I mean, basically, I had Todd from Propagandhi on the show.
Hmm.
Todd's an Acid Rain fan from back in the day, and so we ended up wormholing. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about Propagandhi or their new album at all. We ended up wormholing on like 80s thrash, and
Oh, yeah. Todd is an encyclopedia of '80s thrash.
oh man, honestly, we'd still be talking now if it wasn't, if it wasn't essential that we had to go and do other things.
Yeah.
Um,
Great guy, Todd.
Oh, like absolute legend. I mean, it was really weird because it felt like such a kindred spirit, and we were having, uh, we kind of discovered that our experiences were so similar and yet separated by thousands and thousands of miles.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, Canadian band Sacrifice, and I was like, no, I don't think I do. And as he was talking, I got you guys up on my phone. I was like, oh fuck yeah, I do. I know the logo. Like, that's the 80s logos are just deep in the brain.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
and so yeah, I had your first album. And I think that's basically at the time that was your only album. And I don't think I could get any of the your later releases. That's my excuse anyway, and I'm sticking to it. Uh, but Volume 6, man, honestly, I mean, for a start, props to you because you did you did a lot of work on that album.
Yeah, yeah, we worked really hard on it, but yeah, thank you, Howard. Yeah, it was a lot of work for us, but a lot of rewarding work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, and I mean it. I genuinely mean this as a compliment. There was a couple of songs where I was listening and I was like, God, who does that remind me of? Shit, it reminds me of us. Really, really weird feeling. If you get a chance, we put an album out in 2019 called The Age of Entitlement. And
I was actually just listening to it.
right, okay. Well, I think there's like little crossover bits, and you clearly love going off on some like little instrumental wonders, which I absolutely love. And that is for me, that's that classic kind of hallmark of like 80s thrash, just wandering off on instrumental bits that just end up being as catchy as choruses. And
Yeah, we love doing that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah. I mean, as a singer, I'm I'm all for it because I get a break. Um, but
Yeah, same here. Like when you're playing guitar and singing, yeah, it's nice to be able to just concentrate on your instrument.
yes, yeah, yeah, ever so slightly. Um, and yeah, I mean, I listening to it, even the production, as I'm sure you might have known. Well, if you've been listening to our album, then again, there's kindred spirits there because you have taken the time to create a modern production that doesn't sound like everybody else.
Yeah, one thing we were against is just going into the whole drum triggering and editing territory. Yeah, we like
Absolutely.
to go in into a good studio, mic up the drums, and just say, forget the click track and let's go. Just do it old school like we used to back in the day.
Yeah. But yeah, here's a novel idea. Yeah, mic up the drums, record the drums, and then use those sounds on the album.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's,
Yeah, just
it's.
get a
I
good
think it's
fucking drum sound, and you won't need to bloody replace it, will you?
well, it's. I guess in some cases today, it's a lot cheaper to just throw some triggers on your drums and not worry about getting a drum sound. But then you end up coming out sounding a little sterile, or
Laptop metal.
yeah, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, that's a great drum sound, but unfortunately, I recognize it. It's also the drum sound of four other albums I own.
Yeah, I mean, it just to me it sounds like a demo. Like when I'm sitting at home writing with Easy Drummer or whatever, I want
Yeah,
to escape that.
yeah,
I like playing with a live drummer. I like hearing acoustic drums, and when I hear drum samples, it just makes me think of Easy Drummer.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's exactly what we went with. We went with get a really good drum room, get a really good producer. You know, get those drums sounding great, and then that's all you need. You know.
Yeah, because our music, like, let's face it, it's supposed to sound raw,
Yeah,
right? That's, it's difficult to achieve with digital recording sometimes.
yeah, yeah. Without a doubt, it's well, it just makes everything too clean.
Hmm.
Yeah, um, and it's funny. It's funny because like way back in the day when producers didn't know what to do with this new metal that seems to be faster, so they just smothered it in needless amounts of reverb because that's what you did with rock back then. And now it's the other way around. Now it's just everything is so clean and precise that it can come off feeling false.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you probably ran into the same things that we did back in the 80s where you'd go into a studio and the engineer had no idea what you were doing. Like, what on earth are you guys trying to accomplish here?
Yeah,
You could see it on their face, it wasn't, they had no reference point of what this music was supposed to sound like.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know about you. I remember doing final mixes, and when you're doing a final mix on a like 7 minute song back in the day, and it's a 16 track desk, which is like probably about the width of my house, and you've just got little chalk marks on all different sliders, and there's like four or five of you gathered round the desk,
Oh yeah,
moving
everybody had a
things.
job.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone's got a job. Yeah, everybody moving sliders to certain points in the song because you want to get
Yeah.
that one mix down. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Once they automated the boards, that made things a little bit easier.
yeah. Flying faders. First time I saw that, I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, the desk is possessed."
Yeah.
Yeah, um, and like ourselves, you sort of called it quits in the early '90s, like we all did, because
Yeah.
well, you had to really, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, there was you could feel things were changing and things were, I guess, going backward instead of forward. And uh, there's a lot of us that didn't feel comfortable changing our sound to fit whatever was going on at the time. And yeah, I guess we all just broke up.
Yeah, yeah. It's well, I mean, yeah, we didn't have any choices. Like we just it was done basically.
And life gets you, when you get to, you're at a certain point in your life and things aren't going forward, life gets you.
Well, also, I think when you're part of a genre, unless you're one of the bands that created that genre, when that genre goes down, you go down with it.
Hmm.
You know, and that's kind of what happened to all of us, apart from the big four and a few others,
Yeah.
mainly German bands. But then you came back and with your newfound we're going to do an album every 16 years approach.
Yeah.
I mean, that is an amazing coincidence. That really is. I mean, and holding holding so much of the lineup together as well. How the hell have you managed to do that?
Well, I was asked this before, and I say maybe it's because we don't really tour. We don't.
Ah, yeah,
We're not I guess, at each other's throat every day on tour, and trying to find our personal space. We're only playing maybe 3, 4 shows a year, and we've known each other since we were kids. So we're all good friends. So we're almost like family here. So it's just good to see each other every time we play or record or whatever.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that is kind of strange because it's almost like with a lot of bands, it's like the recording of an album is kind of like that's the necessity that enables you to do the fun stuff, which is play live. But you
Hmm.
seem to have taken a little bit of a different approach.
Well, I mean, bands like us, we don't really need to put out a new album, right? It's usually we play, people want to hear your first 3 albums or whatever, right? So we didn't really feel any pressure to record an album, but we had a bunch of songs that we want people to hear. So we said, yeah, let's book a studio and let's do it.
Does Volume 6 come together over, over 16 years? Is there songs there that were just kicking around from the last album, or
No. I'm writing a lot at home, but I guess the songs on this album probably started around 2017. I had a couple of songs written, which were Comatose and Missile, I think, and let the guys hear it, and they're like, "Yeah, this is good. Let's maybe do an EP or something." And we were working on
yes.
this, and the pandemic hit, and then we couldn't really rehearse anymore, and that kind of thing. But once things eased up a bit with the pandemic, we got back in the rehearsal room, and yeah, we came out with the whole album. So it's great to get back in the studio. After that much time, you forget how much work it is putting an whole album together.
Yeah.
That's probably part of the reason why we have such a long period, with in between our newest albums, anyway. Because like we have lives, we're going to work every day like everybody else, and to do this on the side, it's a big undertaking.
Yeah, it is, and it also requires. I'm going to put this as delicately as possible. It also requires a great deal of understanding from those closest to us.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did spend a lot of time in the studio over, that Volume 6 recording.
Yeah. Oh, but honestly, you can hear it. You can hear that you spent time on it. You can hear that, a whole load of dedication, time, and effort went into it.
Well, it helps a lot too that our engineer Darius, I'm good friends with him, love the guy. So it's not a chore to be in the studio with him at all. He's got great ideas. We bounce ideas off each other, and um, yeah, it was very easy to do that. And I enjoy being in the studio.
Yeah, I find being in the studio, by the sounds of it, similar to you. One of my favourite parts as a vocalist is collaborating with whoever I'm working with, and them throwing ideas at you and just going, well, yeah, to me that sounds like a bad idea, but I'll try it because it might not be, and it might
No,
lead somewhere
absolutely.
else.
Yeah, I mean, Darius and I are both on the same page. If he has a
Yeah,
suggestion, I'm like, yeah, let's try it.
yeah.
And 99 times out of 100, it'll work.
That is really, I think being open minded and being open to other people's ideas and working like that is the only way to go. And I mean, our last album was the first in 24 years, and we're currently pre-producing the next one, so that should be out in 25. So just the 7 year gap this time.
Well, you've got us beat for hiatus.
Yeah, kind of. Well, believe it or not, when it came out, we were on a Wikipedia page. It was the 8th longest hiatus between albums.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. We made Tool look busy, and but that's obviously since then I like a whole bunch of bands have come back. So maybe not anymore. But yeah, we that kind of getting back in the studio and working with the producer was something that back in the day I did not look forward to the studio, and I didn't particularly enjoy it. And so going back in there after 24 years, I mean, I'd done bits and pieces before. We'd done a couple of singles, and I've done guest appearances with bands between, but actually going in and working on an album was completely different. And I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. Our producer Jace was just, an absolute joy to work with, and he's a vocalist himself, so it's very cool to be able to him bounce ideas off me, and to actually listen to stuff that sounds completely different to how I imagined it or how I wrote it, and so much better than that, is that's something that I find really, really gratifying when somebody else contributes to just getting the best out of you.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference now as opposed to the '80s that you can go into a studio and they do have a reference point. They know how this music is supposed to sound, and they know how to achieve rawness and these kind of things, and it just makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when we were working with Jace, he was he'd been doing a lot of dance stuff, so he dropped. There was a couple of sub bass drops that he put on songs, and we were like, "Whoa, fucking hell!"
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
remember like the old, some strapping young lads stuff used to have that in it. I'd be like, "Yeah, that's great."
Strapping young lad. So I got a question for you here. Strapping young lad leads to Gene. My friend Gene Hoglan, as you can see from back in the day. And that leads to Tenet. Is your Tenet the Tenet that Gene played with?
Yes. Well, Jed Simon, guitar for Strapping Young Lad, and a number of other bands. Yeah, he's a friend of mine. He had some stuff demoed. He was asking, if I'd be interested in doing some of it. And I was like, yeah, sure. But with me, I wasn't able to do any road stuff. Yeah. I was upfront with him with that. So I did demo some stuff with him, but in the end, he went with Zetro from Exodus. And I was like, yeah, cool, go for it, man.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? It's like, oh, you're going to go with the singer from Exodus? Yeah. I'm out. It's like, in your shoes, that's exactly what I'd do.
Yeah, I mean, like I would have loved to be on the album, but yeah, like I said, I wasn't able to do any of the road stuff. So yeah, go for it.
Yeah, yeah, but that must have been cool and a kind of nice way to sort of keep your hand in musically.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I don't really think I had much going on. I don't think Sacrifice had really got back together at that point yet. So yeah, I didn't really have much going on other than recording, demoing stuff at home.
Yeah, and I want to ask you: Are you a guitarist who can sing, or are you a singer who can play guitar?
I would say I'm a guitarist first, and I mean, I don't even really consider myself a singer.
Vocalist.
I'll say vocalist because yeah, I'm not much of a singer. I mean, you're probably more of a singer than I am, I guess. Your vocals are pretty great on your stuff.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, ours are a lot more gravelly, I guess, than the average thrash band.
Yeah, but I don't know. You see, the thing is, being a singer and just being a fan of music, and if I'm not feeling the vocals, they're not something you can ignore. And I think that's true of any kind of music lover, really. Mm-hmm. If you're not, it is what draws. It is what can make or break. A band for you.
Well, I think the main thing is doesn't matter what vocal style you have. You just have to sing like you mean it.
Commit.
Yeah, you have to have a level of confidence in what you're doing. And if you don't, it shows.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to mean what you're saying. And for me, this is why lyrics are really important as well. Because, some people might be able to commit to, cartoonish lyrics or whatever, but for me it all stems from the words themselves. That's where the words themselves, the music they're sitting with, it's all, the theme has to all work together.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel right otherwise. And so, getting back to your vocals, I love what you do. I think it's perfect for the music. You've also got enough melody in your voice that it complements the music. And I see what you mean about saying, you know, not a singer but more a vocalist. But I absolutely get that. But that's what suits your music. And I think the two complement each other beautifully. And you know, that's, for me, that was straight away. That's the thing. As soon as I started playing your stuff, I was like, oh, you know, within 10 seconds of the first tune, I'm like, yeah, I'm in.
Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't imagine Sacrifice with the different style of vocal on it.
Yeah, exactly. If I was singing on your stuff, it would not work, you know, and vice versa. If you were on ours, it wouldn't work. It's like it's everything. Yeah, it's all got to work together as like one homogenous lump.
Yeah, they're puzzle pieces, I guess, right? That have to fit.
Yeah, absolutely. So being a Canadian lover of thrash metal, like Todd, was it difficult for you? Honestly, we got to get Todd's got to listen to this because he's getting so many mentions. Did you kind of have that same experience, like, you know, trying to connect with other bands that sounded the same in other countries, the tape trading underground and all the rest of it?
Oh, for sure. Like when we started here in Canada, there was really no other bands except for, like, you know, Razor, Voivod. That was really about it, especially here in Toronto. There was no one else. Like, we didn't have anybody to play with.
Yeah.
And so we started playing with hardcore bands because our options were play with glam bands or play with bands that are more suited to the style of music we were playing. So yeah, we do shows with hardcore bands.
And let's face it, back in the day, playing with glam bands, yeah, that's not on the fucking agenda.
No, I mean, they just couldn't understand what we were about. And when we first started playing live, it was very new, you know.
Yeah.
I think when we played our first show, Metallica hadn't even played in Toronto yet. I think it was weeks away from the first show they were going to play in Toronto, and they were playing a small venue, actually the same venue we're going to play next week.
Oh, so, right. Yes, you've got the gig next week. Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, so you know, they're playing like a 1,000 capacity venue at the time. Yeah. So it was, like I said, it's yet very new.
Yeah. And were you involved in the tape trading network at all?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That was the only way to discover new bands. I think it was probably similar to you.
Yeah.
Growing up, you know, you discover Maiden and Priest and Saxon, and then you just want a little bit more. You want something a little bit heavier and a little bit faster, and then you discover maybe Anvil and Accept, and then all of a sudden you get Metallica, Slayer, Exciter. These bands started coming up, and then you start digging a little deeper, and then you find out that there's Possessed and, you know, whoever else is around doing the tape trading. So that was the way. That was our record store, was, you know, trading tapes with people.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember I traded our Moshkinstein demo with Jeff Waters for his original Alice in Hell demo, where he does everything.
Yeah.
And I wish I still had that.
Yeah, there was a lot of people tape trade. I mean, there was friends of mine too. They go, "Hey, come over and bring a blank cassette and tape all the demos I just got."
Yeah, I remember that, and like just hoping and praying, and also dealing a lot with fanzines as well. I found like you know, everybody thinks that, wow, you know, everyone has a website now and everyone's a reviewer. It's like, yeah, but you go back to when this music was just being born, and fanzines were popping up everywhere, and you know, they weren't run by journalists. They were called fanzines because they were run by fans. And they were a lot of
these people did turn into journalists, though.
Yeah, true, very true. Yeah, it's
look at Bori, right? He was doing, what was his mag called? Guillotine, maybe.
Yes.
And now he turned his fanzine into Blabbermouth.
And Stefan Shirazi, who was, just like wrote the odd article for Kerrang, wasn't really doing much, and one day Jem Howard from mutual friend Jem Howard from Music for Nations says to him, "Look, I want you to. I'm going to send you out to spend some time with Metallica," and and he never came back.
Yeah, that's how it worked. I mean, these people had their ear to the ground, right?
Yeah.
They knew what was going on at that time, and labels were snapping up these people to work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and I remember Martin Hooker, who was the main man at Music for Nations. I remember having a conversation with him, probably around sort of 88, 89, and saying, what do you see as like the future for thrash and all the rest of it? And he just said, it'll be okay as long as the majors don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
And of course, once they got their teeth into as many bands as they could, it started getting fucked up. But it's not a labels thing. It's a band's thing.
Once a few bands started getting some success, I think everybody tried to jump on that train, and everybody's music got watered down a little bit every album.
Yeah, is track three? Is track 3 a ballad by any chance? Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and that's what kind of killed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've said many times, and listeners will be sick of me saying this over the last 11 years, but grunge didn't kill thrash, death metal didn't kill thrash, none of it. It's like thrash fucking turned the gun on itself.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, the innovation stopped, and everybody else was innovating like fuck, and you had bands like Carcass coming up and all sorts of things popping off. Meanwhile, thrash was getting more diluted.
Yeah, I think when thrash started, the reason it got so big was that's what people were looking for. They're looking for something a little faster, a little heavier. And
we were the alternative to the mainstream.
Yeah, and then it stopped being that.
Yeah, then it became the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know.
I always tell people, you probably have the same experience. When I first got Show No Mercy, when I first got Kill 'Em All, I could have never imagined that these bands would be this big today.
I mean, I think back to how long it was before, it's with some bands, how long it would be before you even knew what they looked like. Because they didn't have a picture on their album, and you'd be like 2 or 3 albums in when you finally managed to find a picture of them and go, oh right, that's what they look like. Yeah. And running down to the record shop to get the 2-in-1 video when Metallica finally released a music video. And to think that they'd be where they are now is just, it's nuts.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. I mean, it's just I remember I bumped into Lars in a legendary UK record shop called Shades, which used to be in London, and I bumped into him in sort of like late 80s, and he was just like. He was just another dude in there, and it was, it's Lars from Metallica. It was kind of no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing with thrash too. Is we weren't really into being this rock star persona like you used to see on all the music videos. Like, I mean, I don't know if you got MTV in the UK, but much music in Canada, MTV here, they're just playing, Poison and Warrant or whatever, and I think thrash bands maintained that we're no different from you attitude.
Yeah. I've always said it was like thrash bands had the image. The image of most thrash bands was not having an image.
Yeah, you just felt like you were no different than being on the stage than being in front of the stage.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you all kind of look the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, our attitude was always, and again, I think we used to get a lot of punks coming to our show, and I think it's because we didn't give a fuck. You know, we absolutely didn't care. If there was more, you know, if there was like 20, 30 people on stage, don't care. It's great because every member of the band, if they went to a gig, was going to be stage diving. So if we're in the band and we're playing, we want people to stage dive. And we just saw the stage as an extension of the floor. And it could have just as easily been some of those guys on stage and us on the floor.
Yeah, there's actually, we've played with a few times with a great Japanese band called Verge I think they're from Osaka, and they would actually set their equipment up on the floor.
Oh, but I bet the sound crew loved that.
Yeah, probably, but yeah, it was great watching them because yeah, they wouldn't even put their stuff on the stage; they put it right on the floor, and yeah, it was great to watch.
Oh man, yeah, we've just been totally fucking harder core than thou'd out. That's yeah,
Yeah,
that it doesn't get any more fucking street cred than that.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we used to get a lot of punks at our shows, and I think you know, Watty from the Exploited, whenever we played in Edinburgh, there he was. I've never ever spoken to the guy. He's been at countless shows of ours, and I've never met him and never spoken to him. But he'd like turn up with 3 or 4 people, sit at the back, watch, and then leave. And all we ever knew was that he'd get in touch with the record label because we were kind of on the same label. He was on they were on Rough Justice, we were on Under One Flag, but it was all Music for Nations. So, you know, we'd see his name on the guest list every time we play Edinburgh. And I was like, well, yep, he's definitely here. And I saw him, but yeah, to this day, never met him. But I loved the fact that we used to get punks coming to our shows. Because,
yeah, we did too back then. Yeah,
yeah, I bet because it's. I felt it was kind of like a seal of approval.
yeah. It was weird for us when we first started going to see hardcore bands. You know, first couple of times we'd go, be like Joe Rico from Sacrifice and myself. We'd walk in. Inevitably, someone would come up to you and say, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?" And we're like, "We're here to see the band."
Yeah.
And they're like, "You like this stuff?" And, you know, and then eventually more and more metal people started coming to the hardcore shows and vice versa. So it just became one big scene, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's amazing to think that going back to what we were saying earlier about when thrash first came out, I mean, ultimately metal was in a stage where when you talk about those gateway bands that brought us both to the table, which was, you know, Judas Priest, Maiden, Sabbath, etc. Thrash was so exciting because it was like it's new, and like we've got 2 genres now. We've got heavy metal, and now we've got thrash metal.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I never stopped liking the stuff that I grew up with. You know, like
God,
Priest,
no.
Maiden, Sabbath, Van Halen, whatever. You know, I still always loved that stuff. But this was, I think it was like these were the bands that we imagined, you know, that we hoped for, I guess.
I think also for me, having, you know, the gateway bands were handed down to me by people who were older than me. Here, listen to this. Here, listen to this. But thrash, I discovered all on my own with my friends who were the same age. And
yeah, it seemed, and back then too, like you were the only one, right? It was pretty hard to come across people that even had heard of any of the bands you liked back then.
Yeah, and there was like a core of us who were all like, you know, we went from tape trading to album trading, you know, but not so much trading, but like, you know, basically, can I borrow Show No Mercy? I'll take it home. If you bring Show No Mercy to school, I'll take it home, I'll record it, and I'll bring it back the following day. I promise, you know. And it's like,
oh yeah, that's the way it was.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how we're gonna do this, and that's how you kind of like end up expanding your collection. But like back then, it was kind of like, I remember at the time we had Fistful of Metal, Killing Is My Business, Kill 'Em All, and Show No Mercy.
Black metal.
Well, now there's the thing, right? There's the thing, because the drummer in Acid Rain, Ramsey, was a massive, massive Venom fan. The band he was in before Acid Rain used to play In League with Satan as a cover version. But the thing is, for me, there was no mystique and no mysticism and no kind of I don't know, awe for me with Venom, because they were from 90 miles up the road. They were a bunch of Geordies.
Yeah, it was a lot different for me, I guess. Like when I first discovered Venom, it was like a total epiphany for me.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, like
so that was your gateway then, was it Venom?
Yeah. I think they were the first. I think I'd heard Venom before I'd ever, like, even before Kill 'Em All came out and stuff. It was Venom. Yeah, I was like, this is the band I've been looking for my entire life. And then that was the bar of, like, if a new album came out, you'd be like, is it heavier than Venom? And it was always no, until a friend of mine that lived down the street from me got Show No Mercy. It was very hard for us to locate, because we could only get it on import at that time in Canada.
Same
and
here.
Finally, one of the record stores got a shipment into them, and he got one. Came home. He said, "I got that Slayer album. Come over." I'm like, "Is it heavier than Venom?" And he said, "Actually, yeah."
Right. And so you're straight round his house.
Yeah, exactly. And we were our jaws were on the floor going, "Oh my God," you know?
Yeah. I had that exact same experience. We used to, me and the original guitarist in Acid Rain, we'd jump on a train, we'd go through to the nearest city, which was Leeds. We'd go to the Virgin Megastore, and we'd go over to the metal import section, and you just flick through and, like, okay, so what's here? You're looking for band names that you recognize from members of other bands that they're wearing T-shirts of on other album covers.
Yep.
You know, I bought the Suicidal Tendencies first album because Scott Ian had a suicidal baseball cap. That's it. Bought that. Unseen. Didn't know what it was going to be like.
Yeah, a lot of times I'd been in a record store and just, this cover looks like they're probably going to be pretty good. I'll buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah,
because there was really not much media for us to check out. We what was there? Metal Forces, Kerrang, and that was about it. They couldn't review every album.
Yeah, and
in the fanzines.
Well, you go combing through special thanks lists as well on albums, combing through it for bands. I'm sure Caton W. Depender of Hyrax was on every single fucking album.
Every album.
Yeah. He was the one constant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was kind of the glue of thrash back in those days.
Yeah, absolutely. Without knowing it, it's like it took me years to ever hear Whiplash, but I just knew that there's this guy. Hyrax. I'm getting my old school bands mixed up. It took me years to actually find any Hyrax, and the only reason I wanted to was because it's Caton's band, my bro. He's on every album.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and so you get to the record store and you're literally limited to what can you is there anything that you recognize? Is anything and that's how I picked up Dealing With It, DRI, which is probably still in my it's in my top 3 punk albums without a doubt.
Yeah, it's a great album.
It is. What's weird, and this is when I was kind of like, I'm not quite sure what's going on here, because I love Dealing With It. To this day, I think it's their best album. And,
I do too.
Oh, good. We're right then.
Yeah, I did like after that, the DRI after that, I did like, but it was a little different. It was kind of, they went a little bit more metal after that. And although I liked it still, I didn't like it as much as Dealing With It, or even Violent Pacification, really.
Well, this is exactly what I was going to go on to say. The weird thing was that there I am into thrash metal, loving thrash, but also I like my punk and stuff. And then DRI, one of my favourite punk bands, becomes more metal, and I don't like it as much. It sounds wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
Because dealing with it and crossover back to back, that's two different bands, man.
yeah. I agree.
One's teenagers just not knowing anything about music and going fucking nuts, and the next is kind of like, oh right, okay, you've gone like production and structured songs and shit.
Well, I think that they had an understanding by that point that their audience was more metal guys than hardcore guys. But the one thing that I guess they didn't understand is that the metal guys wanted to hear them play that hardcore stuff.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I guess when you call your album crossover, you are, you're basically laying it on the line to make it very clear for everybody, where this ship is headed.
Yeah, well, they were at the forefront of that whole crossover thing.
Yeah, as you would be when you call your album crossover.
Yeah, yeah.
And Cro-Mags at the time as well. I mean, I remember like the fucking weirdest of things. I went to see Motorhead on the Orgasmatron tour, and Cro-Mags were opening for him.
Yeah, I know they. Well, they were. That was right at the time where hardcore bands were playing. The riffs were definitely more metal.
Yeah, yeah, and I remember Cro-Mags getting like they were one of the first bands of that ilk that got regular rotation on MTV.
Yeah,
I can't remember which song it was for, but I remember thinking, "Wow, like this is on a lot." And then next thing I know, they're touring with Motorhead.
yeah, and DRI was getting a lot of play too.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of Motorhead, of which you played with them, didn't you, back in the day?
Yeah, we did a few shows with them back. This is probably 88-ish, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I must reveal, it's only fair that complete transparency. I host the official Motorhead podcast for BMG Records. So I'm always talking to people about Motorhead, and I'm always interested to hear people's experiences of Motorhead. What was it like
for me?
Sorry?
It was Motorhead was obviously like legendary, and we were all huge Motorhead fans. So when we got offered these shows, we're like, hell yeah, we'll do them. So I think you'll probably agree with me. Like when you're in a band and, you're not this huge band, but after a while you just start to look at other bands like your peers, right? You don't,
Yeah.
You're not like, oh my God, there's that guy, it's
Yeah.
not like that. You're just like, you're all musicians, you're all playing shows, but it wasn't like that. Like I remember walking down the hall backstage, and I looked through the door, and Lemmy was sitting there, and it was just like, oh, it was,
Yeah.
it was totally different. Like this is the legendary Lemmy, and super nice guy, just great to us, and very down to earth. Just everything you hear about him being a gentleman it's all true. He was just a great guy, very welcoming, all those things, and yet he was still this larger than life Lemmy.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's very much like Ozzy, actually.
Yeah,
Where these huge stars, absolute icons, seem to have this power of being completely, totally down to earth, normal people. It's just that guy on stage, that stage persona, that is, yes, that is a thing I do. But off stage, they seem to have this incredible power of being really normal.
yeah. And I think that's like we talked about earlier. That's I think what thrash was. Just
Yeah, yeah, very
don't
much
get
so.
involved in that stupid shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, basically, it was like glam is bullshit. They're all trying to be rock stars, singing songs about cruising down the boulevard, picking up chicks, and partying all the time. And we're singing about war and how we're all gonna fucking die soon. um, and
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of Ozzy, that's like, I guess it was really Geezer writing the lyrics for Sabbath back then, but Geezer wrote some amazing lyrics, and that I think all of us in thrash look back on, and was a huge influence to all of us.
yes, yeah, very much so, very much so. And the thing is, yeah, I mean, Sabbath were always they were always kind of true to their roots, true to their sound, and true to their, well, I'd say true to their roots, because they were just working class guys, and the band was a way out of a miserable existence.
Yeah.
But they never stopped relating to people whose lives continued to be that miserable existence.
Yeah, and they're one band that, obviously, Sabbath is anybody that's involved in any kind of metal, hard rock, or anything, like, they're number one to everybody.
Yeah.
They can go across all genres of rock, and I think pretty much any band owes them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, back when I was getting into metal and we were all walking around, with our long hair and cut off jackets and all the rest of it, we'd get shit from, mods, passers-by, whatever, because of how we looked. Did you have that kind of experience in Canada?
Somewhat, not so much, I guess, but I think when, like, say I was in high school, the people that listen to, I guess, like, radio rock, we didn't really feel part of that whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
the Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, and that. I think we had Sabbath in common, obviously, like I said, but they couldn't understand what we were listening to. They're like, that stuff sounds like it was recorded in someone's basement, and stuff like that. And funny enough, fast forward 10 years after that, everyone's like, oh yeah, Metallica's great and stuff. But at the time it was a lot different.
Yeah.
Didn't really connect.
Well, even back then, I mean, it's never changed. Metal is still an outsider. Most music fans have no idea how massive metal is.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'll never forget when we had the London Olympics, and the closing ceremony was a celebration of UK music, and they had all sorts of music going. And the stadium is in East London, and they covered every single bit of music you could think of, including some like grime rappers who were from the area that the stadium's in, and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you know who else fucking started out like less than a mile from that stadium? Iron Maiden.
Right.
Yeah. Did they get a look in? No. One of the biggest musical genres that's still going today, that originated in this country. No, didn't even get a fucking mention.
Yeah, I sometimes I hear things like that, and I'm like, yeah, that's unfortunate and whatever. But then on the other hand, I think, good. Like, I don't want these bands playing this shit,
Yeah,
we don't belong
said like
there.
a true metal elitist, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't belong in the mainstream.
Yeah. I know what you mean. But do you know what? Then last year, seeing the French open the Olympics
That was cool.
with Gojira, I'm
that
just
was
like,
cool.
that's how it's done. No more British thing than seeing a genre that was invented here done better by the French.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
hey, like, let's look at it this way too. I mean, it was great to see that last Black Sabbath show and what they did to Birmingham, and they made the city like a Sabbath worship center. So that
Yeah.
was really nice to see.
Oh, mate, honestly, I went to. I did the drive. I jumped in my car and did and did the drive up the motorway to Birmingham, and to the Black Sabbath bench the week Ozzy died, to see all the memorial. And so I parked up, and as I was talking earlier about the getting shit from people, which, like, as a teenager, it got bad sometimes, and it was honestly, it was really moving experience to walk the streets of Birmingham, and there's just flags, all bunting flags everywhere, and
So you Brits know how to do it up.
Well, this is the point I'm making, right? All the flags say, like, Black Sabbath, Pride of Birmingham, and all of this. And I started feeling like that little 15-year-old kid was like, do you know what? It was worth it. It was like all that abuse, all that shit. It was all worth it. Like, this is recognition for every single one of us that this is a valid musical genre. This is the second city in the country, and they are celebrating Black Sabbath. They are proud of them. And so I continue the walk to the bridge, and there's this area where there's all plaques for each album and a bit of history on it, and you could walk around, and I started welling up. Just
I can understand that.
I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. Look at what they're doing. Look how proud
and the other
they
thing
are.
was Ozzy's funeral.
Yeah.
Watching that on TV, and how many people were lining the streets to, pay respects to Ozzy, and like, hey, guys our age, he was the soundtrack of our lives, right?
Yeah.
Not just with Sabbath, his solo stuff too. And, he's been in our lives our whole, time we've loved music. And to see that was, it was pretty touching.
It was, and I was really surprised by the news coverage over here. I mean, the BBC covered most of it. Sky covered the whole ceremony, and there was, and they actually had a music journalist on the BBC who was not a metal journalist, just a music journalist.
I think I might have seen this actually because I was watching BBC.
Right. Okay. Right. And basically, the guy was saying, you cannot underestimate the power of heavy metal. You can't. He said, like, this is a genre of music that treats their heroes like gods. This is not just a type of music. This is a lifestyle. This is if you're into metal, you're in it for life, and that's that. And it was just like hearing a music journalist who, was just divorced from metal, but was able to communicate exactly correctly the power of it. Again, I was like, I never thought I'd see that.
Yeah, I mean, you probably feel the same way. I mean, metal is not a passively listened to genre of music. I mean, it's not like this is background music in your car or, just background music while you're cleaning your house. It's
sit down and read the fucking lyrics music.
Exactly. And I don't know if most people that listen to music, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. They don't.
They don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same. It's not. There's not the. It's more. I think like pop music, for example. It's kind of more ambient music to have on while you're doing things.
Yeah. Well,
it's not like how we listen to music.
Well, I've always, whenever anyone says like, I can't listen to that, it's a noise. It's like, it's not a noise. but it is to you, and I can explain that. You are used to hearing a melody and a beat, and you sing the melody and you move to the beat. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's two things. I'm listening to the whole kit, the bass guitar, both guitars, and the vocals. You think it's a noise because you're used to listening to two things. I'm used to listening to all of that.
Right.
So you just can't digest it. It's too much. It's a noise. No, it isn't. It's just that you haven't developed the skills over the years to be able to listen to all of those things at once.
Yeah, and hey, I mean, I get it. I know it's not for everybody, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, some of us you just have to have that emotional connection to it, or it's not working for you.
Yeah. I mean, I read a study once that said that the two types of music fans that were most similar out of everybody that was interviewed for this study were classical music fans and metal music fans. And the one thing they had in common is that they looked down on all of the forms of music and because they felt that what they listened to was far superior and more intellectual.
Well, hey, let's face it, a lot of metal musicians, they can play in pretty much any genre if you give them a tiny bit of training to move on. But I mean, I don't think you can take musicians from other genres and say, here, play this song. It's, it takes dedication.
But even within metal, I mean, I've had audition people and stuff like that, and it's like they're really, really good at what they do, be the drummer, guitarist, whatever. They're really good, and they're even like in metal, and I've seen them play, and then they come to play thrash and they're like, yeah, sorry, but you're not quite up to it.
Well, that was a huge problem we had back when we were starting out, is finding a drummer that could like, no one had ever heard this, right? Like I could find drummers that were great, but we'd bring them down to rehearsal and they just didn't understand that whole thrash beat thing.
Yeah.
And, luckily at some point we found Gus and we moved on from there. But yeah, it was very difficult back then.
You've just reminded me of exactly that same experience of, I mean, like we had the lineup, but we had a drummer who couldn't cope, and he desperately wanted to, but he just couldn't do it. But we carried on regardless.
Yeah, we did too.
What are we going to do? Stop? No, we've just got to plow on and hope we find someone one day.
Yeah, and eventually you find the right chemistry and you're good.
Yeah. Yeah, well, eventually you find the one guy in the town who can actually play well enough to keep up with everybody else. Yeah, it's do you know what? I haven't thought about that for years, but yeah, I mean that was a massive thing.
It really was.
Yeah. I mean, it literally held us back for at least like a year, 18 months. And the thing is, we knew the guy we wanted, but he was playing in another band. And occasionally he'd come down to our rehearsals and our drummer would get out of his drum suit and let him step in. And we'd we'd play for like 45 minutes with our drummer stood watching this guy going, oh, like, he's great, isn't he? Blah, blah. And we're just like, yeah.
Yeah, he's probably trying to pick up some tips.
Yeah. Well, you know what it's like when a drummer has everything but timing?
Yeah.
It's like, damn it. It's
or that stamina to play that fast beat for any extended amount of time.
Yes, you've just dug another memory out of I'm blowing the cobwebs off today.
I mean, hey, this is 2025, right? There's a lot of drummers that can do it now, but you have to put yourself in the context of like 1984. Just wasn't there.
Oh, dude, if you can't find a drummer who can do it now, just use Easy Drummer. Boom, done.
There you go.
Absolutely. I mean, I did see a thrash band recently who their drummer told them on the Monday he wasn't going to be able to get time off work to play the show on Saturday. So the band went ahead. The band went ahead and did it with a laptop.
Yeah.
But they leaned right into it. They were like, they were like, they played the first song and they were like, look, we just want you all to give it up because like this laptop has only had 4 days to learn these songs. Yeah. And the singer was like, between the odd song, if you see like, you all right there back there, mate? You okay? You struggling? You need us to slow down a little bit?
See, that's great. I can respect that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because those 4 guys weren't going to give up a show just because the drummer couldn't make it, and they weren't going to get somebody else in. So yeah, why not?
And I like that they had the sense of humor about it.
Yeah, well, it's like anything, isn't it? You've got to own it. You've got to own it, put it right out there. You can't knock honesty. You can not like it. You can not like what someone's saying, but you can't knock somebody if they're just being honest.
Right.
Unless it's, extreme racism, in which case, honesty's not so good. But, there you go.
Yeah.
But honestly, that whole drummer thing was that was a fucking nightmare. And I don't know about you, but like every time a band came to town, I was there. Demos in hand. I gave a demo to Cliff Burton on the Master of Puppets tour. Just any band, give them a demo, and any band, even tangential genres, just going to see as many live bands as you could that were, even close to thrash.
Oh yeah, I was doing the same thing. Any band that would come to town that was even remotely thrash, I was there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of look back now as well, and it's like, I just think, I was where is it, Nottingham, and the bill was UK hardcore band Heresy. They were opening.
Okay.
Then it was Holy Terror.
Okay.
Oh no, so the Holy Terror. Then it was the original Napalm Death and DRI headlining.
Nice.
I mean, what a show! Just
yeah. I know we were part of some of those way back in the day. Like, some of our first shows were like, opening for Corrosion of Conformity and DRI, and we're like, wow, this is crazy.
Oh man, that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. That really is.
Yeah.
But of course, coming from Canada, you also have to pay props to Rush, don't you?
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Yeah. I think like there's 2 bands in the world that I think you can say to somebody, do you like them? And most people will say yes, and even those that don't will still be able to name you some songs by them, and that is Rush and Queen.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it, really.
Yeah, Rush was a band we all grew up with in the band, and okay, we're from Toronto here, so Rush was on the radio all the time. My older brothers had Rush records I could listen to when I was a kid, and that's a band that all of us loved, and especially like Gus, our drummer. Every drummer loves Neil Peart, right? He's like the best drummer ever.
Just when he was alive, just don't meet him and tell him that.
Yeah, he was very reclusive, but what a drummer. And it's crazy. Even today, sometimes I'll put on an old Rush song and just think, how did they think of this? Like,
yeah,
absolutely. Think to do this part here.
Yeah, I know, and a great example. I know it's like everyone's heard it, and there's 1,000 reaction videos on YouTube, and classic drummer listens to Rush for the first time. Yeah, well, you should have listened earlier. And it's Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, it's a great drum song. Great song.
But you really don't realize the genius of what he's doing, and this is what for me makes such a difference. It's like what he's doing is completely different to 99.9% of what other drummers would do.
Yeah, I don't know what was going through his head a lot of the time to put this stuff together. Like his fills are just so insane. And I mean, for me, I wasn't even really into prog rock. You know, I wasn't really into Yes or, you know, whoever else from the 70s. It wasn't really my thing, but I loved Rush.
Yeah. Yeah. I would always make time for Rush. And it's like I said, coming back to Tom Sawyer, and you were saying about like some of his fills and all the rest of it, he's doing something completely different, which is 9 times out of 10 very, very technical, but it still serves the song.
Yeah, it's not just he's not showy. Just, you know, it's not just wanking out there. He's adding to the song. You know, it's not all like, look how good I am. It's, you know, it fits the song.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, and thrash is definitely a genre where sometimes you can be listening and you're going, yeah, this drummer is drumming to impress other drummers.
Yes. And then there's other guys like Gene where you're like, he's just like that. He's just a natural talent, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's just like, he's doing his thing.
Or Lombardo too. He was another one. I mean, when he first, you know, once Slayer was a couple albums in, his drum fills were just incredible.
Well, to basically Rain in Blood for me is the greatest thrash album of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it's him. it's Lombardo.
Yeah, but it's also one of the best hardcore records ever. Because
it's definitely rides that line.
Yeah, well, all of the tricks from hardcore are on that album. All, you know, the shorter songs, not that that's exclusive to hardcore, but the stop and wait, that feeling, stop, go, you know, holding you back, let you go. Accents, stops to make everything feel more chaotic and more panicky, and it just adds that sense of energy to it, and that is like ripped right from hardcore.
But then there's sometimes too, I think, that maybe Rain and Blood had more influence on hardcore than hardcore had on it. You know, for what came after that.
We're going right through the looking glass here, aren't we? You might well be right, actually. Yeah, and the influence on hardcore and crossover from Rain in Blood. I've kind of never looked at it that way before. I've always looked at the other way, but yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, because there was a time where you could, you know, hardcore bands had a distinctive style of riff. It was like, you know, fast chords that weren't necessarily in the same patterns as you'd get with like a classic rock band. And then after that, the hardcore bands were playing metal riffs.
Yeah. And it's and then you move years and years and years and years down the line, and Tori Amos is doing a piano cover of Rain and Blood.
Yeah, that was not mind-blowing.
It's like, I can't believe I'm alive to see this.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Completely. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, look, Rob, it's been an absolute pleasure, dude. It really has. And, you know, I at this point, I usually say, look, great album. Can't wait for the tour. And when when you come play London, I'm going to be at the show. But let's be honest, that's never going to fucking happen.
Hey, we could be booked in the UK tomorrow. Who knows, right? But as far as us going on tour, yeah, most likely not going to happen. But we do shows here and there, so you never know what's going to happen.
Which reminds me, thanks for taking the time out, and because presumably you've got some rehearsals lined up for next week's show.
Oh yeah, we're hitting the rehearsals hard this week.
Yeah, are you looking forward to it?
Oh yeah, like we haven't played our hometown Toronto here for something like 10 years. So
Right.
yeah, we're really looking forward to this. It's a lot different for us. I think, for nerves and stuff like that, it's definitely a lot more pronounced when we play in Toronto.
Right. Okay. Right. So are you kind of looking forward to it and also looking forward to it being over?
No, we're absolutely looking forward to it. Yeah,
Good.
it's a whole different ball game playing here, in Canada in general, but definitely it's more pronounced playing here in our hometown. There's a lot of people at the shows that have seen us like, 20 times over our whole history. And, on the other hand, then there's the new people who just discovered us who, we love them equally. So
Yeah.
we're looking forward to this one.
It's cool, isn't it? Because it's like we're now so deep into our careers that that you can play shows, and there's going to be people that come to those shows that they almost feel like they're band members because they've been in it with you for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. It's totally like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. It really is.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, and having people introduce their children to you and saying, "Oh, it's their first show seeing you." It's like, yeah, thanks for doing that, but also, fuck off.
Well, it's weird now when you get to this age because there's people that, they're like, yeah, hey, meet my son. He loves Sacrifice. And, they're kids like, 17, 18, 19 years old and
Yeah,
love Sacrifice. And that, we've known their dad for like, 40 years.
yeah, yeah. I know. It's like, yeah. Oh, I know. Oh man, look, it's been an absolute pleasure. It really has.
Yeah, me too. Thanks.
Absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for giving the world Volume 6 because it's a fucking killer album, and I genuinely can appreciate that album from every single angle, and the love and thought and dedication that's gone into it. Believe you me, you can hear it. You really can.
Howard, thanks so much for saying that. That means a lot. And yeah, I really appreciate you saying that.
No worries, man. It's an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait for another 16 years in your next album.
Yeah, we'll record it from the nursing home. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good show next week, man.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Take care.
You too.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers.